Well, here we are sitting in humid, hot South Jersey once again on a Wednesday, early evening, August 28th. Can you believe the summer's almost over? Here it is, episode number 168 of Material Issues. I'm Mark Hershberger of Pop Detective Records. We're getting through it, man. It is hot over here in South Jersey. David switched it up on me. Now, David's still on the western side of the United States, but far north of what he usually is in the beautiful little borough of Vancouver, Canada. What's going on in Vancouver, David?
It's beautiful, as always. Every time we come up here for IPO, we just can't help but appreciate the views, the scenery, the people of Vancouver. It's just an awesome place to be. We love it.
Nice. And you got IPO Vancouver coming up in the next 3 nights?
Yes, we do. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night at Lana Lou's for our 3rd year in a row.
Yeah, nice. That's a great venue. Yeah.
And of course, when in Vancouver, I have to partake of my favorite Canadian snacks. One of which is the diet lemonade, sparkling lemonade that they have here that we no longer have in the States.
And how many bags of ketchup potato chips have you eaten so far?
I haven't eaten any full bags, but I just bought my favorite, loads of ketchup. Now we're going to get it going right now.
Look, this is like an ASMR. What do they call that, ASMR, where you're making sounds and everybody? Tim's checking in. Hey, Tim, good to see you. You got here just in time to watch David eat ketchup potato chips because he's in Vancouver. I like the all dressed, but the ketchup are pretty darn good. Loads of ketchup flavor.
President's choice, amazing.
Oh Lord, have you already been vinyl shopping today?
Hold on, sorry.
Or do you need?
This is so professional, isn't it? Also, I had to get the candy that I modeled for, Mr. Big.
Yeah. Yeah, you modeled for that, all right. You and your plaster caster.
You probably think I modeled for sugar babies or something, but
yeah,
that's closer to the truth. Anyway,
I
have gone vinyl shopping at a really cool record store in Vancouver called Zulu Records.
Mm-hmm.
I picked up 3 kind of cool things. This is a reissue of the Hollies Butterfly that came out in the 70s.
Nice.
With a totally different cover. I never did buy that back in the day, and for whatever reason. And so I thought, I see it there. Why not? It's a German pressing from the 70s, as I said. And I love this cover. I actually like this cover better than the original cover of Butterfly. First album by the American Breed.
Wow.
The band that had Bend Me, Shape Me as a top 5 in 1968. But there's some pretty cool songs on this one, like Don't Forget About Me is a big favorite. Step Out of Your Mind. I love that stuff. And they do some really cool covers also of like Uptight by Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
But, a solid album. Not as good as some of their others, but it's just, it's the only one I didn't have, and I wanted to make sure I had it because I think the only CDs that have come out on those are mastered from bad vinyl.
Yeah.
And then finally, the Dutch beat band, the Motions. I had no idea about this. This is a Canadian pressing of their album Impressions of Wonderful. I've never seen this before, and it's pretty amazing. I really like this band a whole lot. And the Motions, their debut album actually is considered like a garage beat pop classic, but this one's really good too.
I don't know it.
So yeah. This was a big pleasant surprise.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And you're just starting your shopping, so we'll probably catch up with the full load next week. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, there's definitely a few other shots I haven't hit yet. But we've got several days to do it.
Nice.
Let's see. Do I have any other news?
I know you've
not
been
really. I've got my new fave, my Omega Speed, my Space Master today.
Oh Lord, I knew I forgot to bring something to the show. I got a new one too, but I'll have to show you.
Oh, you did? Ah.
Oh, I know.
I know. I wanted to see it.
It's really,
And the watch too.
yeah. You keep asking me to see it. I refuse to show it to you, but I will soon. But yeah, the new watch is really really quite cool. You're gonna love it.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're familiar with the brand, but we'll
I'm
catch
intrigued.
up. Yeah, keep you intrigued.
Well, right now we have a very special guest on Material Issues, and
It's a lot of fun.
power pop fans know him for an album that has really become iconic in our world, the self-titled album by the Toms. And I mean, again, there it is, very simple cover, but inside the music says it all. It really does. Just every song is just so filled with hooks. You cannot forget about the choruses on any of them.
Yeah.
That's what he's most known for, but he's done quite a bit. Well, first of all, he's recorded several albums since then, both as the Toms and also his other project, Horizontal Ladies Club. But he's also Grammy nominated. He's worked with all kinds of iconic people. He's worked with the Bee Gees. He's worked with Cher. He's worked with Rod Stewart as producer, engineer. He's written songs that have shown up on TV and in movies. I mean, most power pop fans don't really know all this about him, but he's certainly a renaissance man in the world of music. And he's still going strong. He has a brand new album out. I don't know if there's a physical pressing of it yet. I hope there will be, but you can check it out on Bandcamp. But right now we're going to talk to him, and it's going to be fun. Would you please give a huge Material Issues welcome to Mr. Tommy Marolda.
Well, hello there.
Oh, man. Nice to see you, Tommy. Fantastic.
Nice to be here.
Andy, good to see you.
Hey, Andy Hartley.
David and Mark, I think the two of you need to open up for IPO because I was over here just cracking up listening to you.
We are ridiculous.
That's so
At least
funny.
give us that, yeah.
Yeah, we were going to name the show "We Are Ridiculous." Then we stuck with the Material Issues. So either way we go. But
hold on 1 second. Go ahead, Mark. I've got to do something I forgot to do.
Yeah, you gotta go let the pool guy in again. I understand that. That's all good. Tommy, how does it feel to have just such a limited career? I mean, you really haven't done a whole lot that we could talk about. We're gonna try to figure something out here. But you're sitting there in Vegas, baby, and doing your thing. And and David brought up a great point because I loved the Tom's first album. I've loved everything you've released along the way, but I wasn't that familiar with everything else that you've been involved with as far as producing and engineering and writing for and in the films and TV. It just once you do a deep dive on our guests in order to be prepared, it's like holy cow. Holy cow. I mean, it's really
thank you.
it's really quite impressive.
That's all I know how to do. I can't change the oil in my car. That's just what I do. 24 hours a day. That's why I wake up. And I have a 16-year-old daughter, and I bounce off her. So she keeps me young in that respect of what's on the radio and what I should be listening to. Or
what is she listening to right now?
Well, let me see. I've done rap. I've worked with Snoop, Dr. Dre, Corrupt, and the whole Snoop Dogg and Nate Dogg. God rest his soul. And so I have a pretty good handle on rap. The new rap, it doesn't do anything for me, but she made me listen to Travis Scott, and I was impressed with some of the things, especially he used the Gentle Giant sample at the beginning of the lead-off song of his last album. I'm like telling my daughter, I know this song. And I played it for her. She goes, oh my God.
Yeah.
You're my dad.
Speaking of rap, Tommy, what do you think of the chain? Is it Hood?
I was going to get to that. I was going to get to that, but I figured it was a freebie when you got the American Breed.
It was in a little bowl next to the cash register.
Of course. Hey, change. Like the pennies. Oh my God.
It's his new thing, Tommy, and he's really promoting it. I'm not really sure why yet, but
I'm not either.
Besides her. Oh, that's funny. So she's listening to actually, but not unfortunately, she loved Beach Boys, Four Seasons, Zombies, Beatles, of course. So a lot of I teach here too, and it helps me pick up new artists because they come in. I'm advertised as guitar, bass, vocals, and recording and production and songwriting, and I've found some interesting artists to be. One of them was Dan Reynolds from Imagine Dragons. Came in here, had a bigger lisp than I have. Tall, lanky, couldn't sing, knew 3 chords on the guitar, but he was prolific at writing lyrics and dedicated. And of course, I said to myself, I don't think these guys are going to go anywhere. And 4 years later, I told him, I said, first of all, it's hard to get an alternative hit on the radio.
Yeah.
I said, you got to put hip hop beats to it. So the first song was Time. It's time to begin, blah, blah, blah. And then the next one was Demons, which was a hip hop loop. Yeah. So the rest was
I'll tell you how out of touch I was. The first time I ever heard of Imagine Dragons was that Grammy thing celebrating 50 years of the Beatles.
Oh, my God.
Imagine Dragons was in that, and they covered one of the Beatles tracks.
And it was brutal.
Actually, I thought it was really good, but it wasn't my thing. I mean, I could tell that I wouldn't like their original music that much, but actually, I mean, they seem to have it all together. But
they must have their household name. I mean, Radioactive is a monster. Their new album sounds like a bunch of commercials that they actually said, okay, let's write a bunch of songs that could be used in commercials. So anyway,
really?
But isn't that kind of where they came from? Because I first remember them on some commercial, and I didn't even know who they were.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, it was like 8 months later, they were everywhere. And it's like, weren't they just from this commercial? And they weren't even. Yeah. So, but I get what you're talking about. Wow.
And before them, I found the Killers like that.
Yeah.
Are the Killers of Vegas? Are they a Vegas band?
They're a Vegas band, David. They have a studio not too far from here. They recorded their 6 songs, and my publisher said, hey, we got to try to get these placements. So I think it was somebody told me, and one or another, we got them placed. But none of the companies wanted to touch them here. So they went to England, and they got a deal there, and then the rest is history.
Yeah. Speaking of history, let's start with yours. Where did you grow up, and were you from a musical family?
Not too far from probably where Mark is right now in South Jersey. I was born in Trenton, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And then I moved out to the suburbs to build a little studio. And my dad and my mother played piano. My father actually played. He was so old. He played silent movies at the theater. They would call him to come in and play the score on a piano because there was no music. There was no sound.
Okay.
So that's how we started. But he didn't want me to get in the music. He wanted me to be an attorney. But
just wasn't for you.
No, the first band, I was making more money than him as an attorney. We were playing 7 nights a week. We had a singer that danced like James Brown, even though he was white, and he played the saxophone, and it was all covers, no original music. And I started thinking, I don't know, I'm tired of playing Boogaloo Down Broadway and Respect and everything else, so I'm going to start writing my own songs. That's when I built a studio. I think I did it around when I was 19.
Oh, wow.
And then from there, everybody would come to me because I started playing all the instruments, all the Springsteen crowd, the Bon Jovi boys, guys from Earth, Wind and Fire. Am I talking too much here?
No, that's fantastic.
And then, in fact, that's what happened with the original Tom's album was I had booked, I think the Smithereens were supposed to come in on a Friday night. And then the next day was Earth, Wind and Fire. Both acts got sick. And I says, okay, I got 3 days. What the hell am I going to do? I had a couple of songs written, And then I went out on the back porch on a humid, hot day in New Jersey. Unbelievable, right, Mark?
Yeah, right.
And I wrote 40 songs, came back in, set the clicker going, and started recording. And picked the 12 best for the original Tom's album. So
And I read somewhere it didn't take you that long to do it all. It sounded in an interview you had somewhere else that you kind of just banged it out quickly, and there it is.
Quickly. I think I had I had twin girls. They were 10 years old, and they were running back and forth when I'd make a mistake on the drums, because I'm not a drummer, far from it. And that's when I needed you, David. And so what happened was they would just stop it, let me do it again, and I do it and go through it, and that was it. It was done.
Yeah, which is amazing for how great that album is, and
I appreciate that.
To think you just, but we've talked to people on the show, and some of their greatest work they've banged it out quickly and let it be what it was, and everybody goes, oh my God, you didn't struggle and suffer over this? No, it was done.
I found out about the album by reading an ad in Goldmine magazine, I believe.
Really?
That Dice Dumond had put. I'm
yes,
sure you remember those guys,
right?
And I had visited that place before, but they mentioned as touchstones shoes and Badfinger. I said, well, as soon as I read that, I got in my car and drove from. I lived at that time in Rockland County. Drove from Rockland County into Manhattan to their offices and said, "You got to give me this." And actually, within about 5 seconds of "Let's Be Friends Again," I was hooked.
Oh, thank you. That's why. Well, you resurrected. Mark, David, he dug me up. Mm-hmm. He resurrected my whole Tom's career. Yeah. There was nobody else. They could care less. He did it.
Oh, there were other people who cared, but they weren't as annoying as I am. They weren't as persistent or aggressive, as if you will, as I was. No, I was crazy, and you may remember. And I know I've told you about this. My friend Jeff Harris and I. Yeah. He loved the album also. We tried to find you. We called information, and fortunately, you were listed. I think your address was on the album. So we knew what city you lived in, and we called. And we're like 20 years old and fanboys, and I'm sure you were probably somewhat shocked to hear from us. But you gave us 45 minutes of your time. I remember. I figured you were just gonna. Nah, I'm busy. Guys. Call me again next year. But no, we were just talking music, and the album, and it was wonderful. So thank you for that.
Oh, my honor. It's funny. After that album came out, I got calls from Bruce Johnson from the Beach Boys. Talked to me for an hour. Oh, I love this album. Talk to me about it. I'm going, really? You're the freaking Beach Boys.
I wonder how he got a copy. What did you do for distribution at that time?
I drove around, dropped them off, boxes full of them to the different stores. They would call me up a week after I dropped the box off. New Hope, New Jersey, North Jersey. Then I think Bomp Records got a hold of it. I don't know if you know those guys. And they started spreading the word. Some of the radio stations started playing it, the college radio. And then a fellow by the name of Steve Leeds, who was in the office he was a record promoter. He managed or worked with Joan Jett, and Tommy Marolda is in this particular office before he was who he was. And I would go up to Steve Leeds' office and take all the free records that he got, the DBs and all the great power pop things, and he started managing me, and took me to the label was Epic Records.
Wow.
We walked in there, and all on the wall was all the rejection letters that Boston, the group Boston had.
Yeah.
From them. But Lenny Pizzi signed them, and I'm sitting there, and Lenny Pizzi's right there. He goes, "Tommy, that's a pretty good album you got there. So where's your band?" I go, "I don't have a band." He goes, "Well, who made the record?" I says, I made the record. He goes, "Well, how did you do that?" And I started telling. I says, "Well, wait a minute." I says, "Tom Schultz from Boston basically did the same thing." I mean, he had a singer come in and he had a drummer come in, but he put the whole thing together in the basement of his house, like I did. So
Right.
Len said, "Well, you got to get a band, and I think we got a producer for you, but we want to sign you." And I said, "Okay." And my manager Steve is like, his face is like lit up like whatever. Steve Leeds now is a big guy over at Sirius Radio. Anyway, make a long story short, we walked out of the office. I said, "I'm not doing that record over again. I'm not going to have a producer come in and produce the songs and record it again. The magic will be totally gone." But anyway, so
That's his latest track right now, ladies and gentlemen. Just gotta
track, "Shake a Tail Feather" is my ringtone. The original "Shake a Tail Feather."
yeah, heard it here first.
So that was that. I didn't want to do it. So he signed me to Famous Music, and that's when I went out west, came out here. And from there, I just wrote for movies and television, all the Rocky. I still do all Sylvester Stallone's movies.
Wow.
The Expendables. I've got about 10 songs in Rocky movies. I did Staying Alive with, the John Travolta thing.
Mm-hmm.
I did a song with Cher. She sang in Days of Thunder. I did Disney songs, Lifetime, every other thing you could think of. And the reason why is if they asked for something, they got it the next day.
Right.
I
Okay.
didn't have to call a band or anything. I just
So you had a reputation of being fast, which in this business is very important.
Super fast. Even when there was no internet, David. I had a great relationship with FedEx people.
But you also had to have the chops too. I mean, you got to have some chops and be fast. When you were young, did you learn piano first, or what did you pick up initially?
I didn't do anything. I started playing guitar at 17 because
Guitar at 17.
I had
Wow.
to sneak out of the house. My father didn't want me to play. And I bought a new SG, dropped it the third night I had it on the concrete floor and rehearsal, broke it, went and got a bass instead, and then played bass for 3 years. I love bass.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And then so early on you're starting to write. Were you a melodies guy right away, or were you lyrics? Or,
Both.
Both. Yeah.
Both. I remember being in school and hating English. I said, you know what? I went and tried to make a deal with the teacher. I said, how about if I write 20 songs a week, lyrics? He says, what? Yeah, I said, this dangling participle stuff is just driving me crazy. I don't know. So that's what I did. I just wrote lyric after lyric. I have 8,000 pages of lyrics back there.
Mm-hmm. And do you still do that today? Do things pop in your head? And you're writing stuff all this? Yeah.
All the time. Find me a title and I'm off and running.
There's a good question. For you, does it start with a title, or does it,
Yes.
what really pops in your head a lot? You walk down the street and you see,
Title.
brown furry doggy, and it's like, hey, there's the title, and I'm going to go from there. Different people have different ways around it. Some people come up with the verse in the story and then turn it back into a title somewhere. And I think me personally, if I think about writing something like that, I always start off with that title, the title.
It's a good idea. I mean, you think of the songs. I was in the sessions for Wanted Dead or Alive, You Give Love a Bad Name, all the Bon Jovi stuff, because I was involved with Richie. And I would see how a title would drive the whole song from beginning to end.
Did you actually, Tom,
Yes.
did you actually introduce Richie Sambora and John Bon Jovi to each other?
Yes.
Do you realize what a huge thing that is? I mean, think about it.
He doesn't really. No, he doesn't know.
Whoever John Lennon and Paul McCartney had a chance meeting in Liverpool back in the late 50s, and from that, born the Beatles. And what would have happened? You introduced those guys, and look at what happened. That's crazy. It's astounding. You should have a star on the Walk of Fame just for that.
They mentioned me in the Bon Jovi encyclopedia, but other than that, I had a group. Well, I didn't have a group. I did another record after the first Tom called Tomfoolery, and you know that one, David? Do you?
Oh no. Well, I bought Tomfoolery the minute it was out.
Oh my goodness!
And I noticed you had a friend with you on that one.
Yes, a Paul Plummer, guitar player. I couldn't play blues guitar like that. So what happened was they started playing the song "Not a Trace of a Heartache" on local radio WPST, and Tony Bongiovi from New York, owner of the power station, heard it. Gives me a call and he goes, "You Tommy Marolda? Yeah, come on up. You got free time anytime you want at the studio." I
Wow.
was in reports, so I went up there, and here's Aerosmith, Meatloaf walking around with gout, Neil Young recording, all these. I was freaking out, and on downtime they would let me go in and record. So one night, David Bowie was in there with Stevie Ray Vaughan doing. I think it was Dance or something, or Fame, sorry. And I hear this song coming out. It was Runaway. And I go, that's a pretty good song. Who is this? So I start talking to the cat. And it's John Bon Jovi, who knew me because we were all playing in bands in the Jersey circuit.
There you go.
And he, they finished the song. Richie wasn't on it. And they were, Tony Bon Jovi gave his cousin, John Bon Jovi, who changed his name,
right?
Studio time. And he recorded the song.
It's your cousin Marvin.
It's exactly. That's exactly what I'm telling you. Guys got to open for IPO this week, and the rest is history. He was looking for a guitar player, and I says, "Holy shit, I know somebody." They were auditioning guys left and right, and I could hear through the walls. It wasn't happening. I said, "Hey, Richie, I know this kid. They're recording up there. You want to come up?" "Yeah, okay." And so that was the end. I introduced Richie to his wife, Heather Locklear.
There you go.
I was living out there, and she was running next to me on the treadmill all the time. On one side, and on the other side was Maureen McGovern from Brady Bunch.
Maureen McCormick.
McCormick.
Do you realize if that would have been David on that treadmill between those two, he'd be gone. He'd be dead. He wouldn't be here today. His neck would be broken. We wouldn't have this show if it wasn't you instead of David there. Yeah. My gosh.
She just broke up with Tommy Lee and said, "Hey, do you know Richie Sambora?" I go, "Do I know Richie? It's like my brother. Can you set up a meeting?" I says, "Yep." Called him. He sent roses. The next day they met in Waldorf in New York, got married, got both. The rest is history. Anyway.
See, that's always interesting to me, too. I mean, to get off the music subject, but how do people like Richie Sambora and Heather Locklear meet? Now I know. It's because Tommy was on a treadmill. And,
right. In Westlake.
He's on the treadmill.
Repeat this hook line over and over.
But yeah, you're right when you talk about titles. Bon Jovi, I think, is the classic titles band. It's like everything they have came from a phrase or a common title or something.
Exactly. I was watching TV and I saw Rock Paper Scissors. It's like a cartoon show. So I said, you know what? I like that title. I'm going to do another album. So that's when I started 9 months ago. I've got a new album now called Rock, Paper, Scissors. This has been, and I don't want to change the subject and go to hey, holy Matilda. Rock, paper, scissors. There it is. You guys are fast. I had a hard year. People have hard years, but this was a hard year. Somebody was trying to take my daughter away from me for good. It was just a hard year. So I wrote Desperate Times, Call for Desperate Measures. That was one of the titles. A song called Pilot, which was about the Mile High Club. My ex-girlfriend.
That's my favorite track on the album. I love that. That
thank you.
Yeah, really good.
And it was a tough album, and it got me through because now I have my daughter 100% of the time.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I'm telling you, music is a miracle drug. David, you know that. Mark, I don't know you well enough.
Yeah.
But,
Mark would subscribe to that idea.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed. I mean, they're. We David and I talk all the time about music that'll take you to a certain time and place, or music that can heal, and music that can help you get through things. When I was going through divorce, Justin Curry's first solo album, Post Delamitri, got me through that whole time, because every single song was about his own divorce and his own troubles. And if it wasn't for that, I don't know what I'd be thinking. But that that thing just took me to another place and helped me understand there's other people down that same road. And
yeah, I mean the music. You probably listen to WABC a bit.
Oh yeah, yes.
The top 40 radio on ABC, especially between 1970 and 74. That's the most important music of my life because it was a soundtrack. You know, during that, I want to be a teen again. Well, I was for the first time during that period.
Yeah, that's what we did.
And you know, that music coming of age in so many ways. That music will mean it's just it's priceless. It's
it is priceless.
It really is.
I'll make sure John Borick checked in. He wanted to make sure you saw that he was saying hi. So,
oh my God, it's another guy who resurrected me and dug me up from the grave.
Yeah. Well, John and I are very good friends, and
I know you are. I love that.
We ended up. I mean, we have talked about you many times, and in fact, one of the biggest thrills of my life. I mean, I know I'm going to turn 66 in a few days, and
you don't look it. You're wonderful.
Thank you. But one of the biggest thrills of my life was when you came over to my apartment, and
California.
John Borak was there as well, and I got to play your debut album in front of you, and I know that's really frightening. What is a 66-year-old guy talking about that? What does he hate? No, it still means a lot to me. That
I remember that day perfectly, over in the valley.
Yep, in Studio City. Yeah,
Studio City. I was thrilled. I was like, "Oh my God!" And my wife said, "Where are you going?" Well, I'm going to go see these two fellas. What? Who are they? You don't even know where you're going. I said, "No, they mentioned the Toms. They got to know something."
Well, that's before David was wearing his bling around his neck, so you weren't as threatened.
Right. Oh man!
That's a bad man. Yeah,
he was a bad man.
Like I could convince anyone of that.
Tom, I'd like, as I discussed with you earlier about doing just some deep dive into a lot of your career and a lot of different things that you did. I'm interested in what you think today, as far as, in the last, we talked about a stat last week, David, in the last, how many years there hasn't been an actual band in the Billboard top 10. It's all individual artists.
In the last 5 years, there's only been 2 bands, I believe, that have made the Billboard top 10. It's just solo and duo now.
Yeah, solo and duo artists. So, and I've read interviews with you, Tommy, where you talk about the devaluation of music today and how hard it is to sell, whether you go down, the route of TV and film, which is where you can make some money still these days. But if you're a young band, if you're a group of 18, 19-year-olds that are getting together, they're writing, they're trying to record, they're trying to do, like, where does a young band go to sell a product? Because the physical product, the CDs are disappearing. We've got some vinyl, but not everybody has a vinyl record player. Mm-hmm. Where is it going in your opinion? Because I really value your opinion on this subject.
Well, touring and playing out. But in order to tour where you're making the type of money that would sustain you, if you have a family or whatever, if you're young, then you can do it. You can jump in a van and just tour your ass off. Just, we sent Imagine Dragons out in the van, and people would throw bottles at them. We finally figured out, we put up chicken wire, and they went along with doing stuff like that. But there are a bunch of Mormons going out there. They didn't know the world was like this. So a band today, it's tough. That's the only way you're going to make money. In fact, my royalties from television and everything has dropped. I'd have to say, if it was 100% at one time, right, it's now maybe 15% of what it was. It's horrible.
Yeah. Why is that?
Production companies aren't paying that much money. ASCAP has changed the rules. They're paying for more for underscoring than they are for songs, and it's just horrible what they're doing. I know everybody is making more money in the Spotify and the streamers and all those guys and Warner Music and all those, they're making billions of dollars, but it's not trickling down to the songwriters. I can't remember the last time, David, I got a dime for producing anything, and I've got gold records, platinum records. I can't remember a check coming in. I call Polydor, they'll send me to this one, that one passed the buck, and oh no, we sold that company, blah, 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 and you're not getting a dime.
Yeah.
And it costs too much money to go after them with an attorney and anything else. So a new band coming up right now, their best thing they can do is plan to tour, plan to go out, try to put some great material together, no matter if they do it in their garage or whatever, and hopefully go to college radio stations, see if you can get some airplay in your local area, make a little bit of noise that way. But it's pounding the streets. Sending it off to record companies or publishing companies, waste of time, money, and energy. Mm-hmm. So, and
I suppose there's still, you can still get a bit of a thrill hearing your song on a soundtrack of a movie or TV.
Too hard. I can. Too hard to do that. It's so hard doing that. I've been blessed just because, like with Stallone stuff, Frank Stallone had a band. He would come to my studio. We became friends. I was supposed to be in the original Rocky movie. I have stage fright. I didn't go.
Wow.
The singing on the corner. I have stage fright. I didn't go. Take it back. Do, 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 do. Take it back.
Yeah.
I knew the song. I recorded it. And then Staying Alive came out. I've got songs in that. That's what I got nominated for a Grammy. I did the whole song. And they had 50 people do lead vocal on it, from Rod Stewart to all these people, and they ended up with one of the Farragher brothers, Tommy Farragher. I was supposed to be in that movie. They shot a scene in the CBGBs. I said, no, I can't do it. I have stage fright. And so where am I going with this?
Is that still the... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. And so getting songs and movies and stuff, that was a thrill, a major thrill. But that movie plays all the time. I'll go on TV and a day doesn't go by where I turn on the set. One of my songs are playing, Expendables, Rocky, this one, that one, because there's hundreds of movies, TV shows. Everybody thinks I would be rich from it. Yeah. And it's pennies. Cable pays pennies, David and Mark.
Yep. Yeah.
The major networks, Fox, CBS, ABC, and CBS, now that's a different story. They'll pay maybe anywhere between $800 and $1,500 when it plays, if you've got a song that plays over 45 seconds on the show.
Right. Yeah.
It still isn't very much, though.
It's not very much
I had
money.
No idea.
No. Guys could spend that much money in a studio trying to put the song together.
Yep. Yep.
So,
do you think the fact that nothing or very little of anything physical is sold anymore is a detriment to the music business? Because people don't buy really CDs anymore. There's no CD players in cars. There's no stereos with it. And vinyl, vinyl is sold, but not everybody has a record player and a sound system. I lament the fact that the physical product is not, especially for the younger generation, it's not a consideration anymore.
No. Well, you figure when we were buying records, David and Mark, the whole idea was that was our life. Yeah. This is how we get our music. We love it. This is our generation. This is the soundtrack to our lives. Today, the kids' soundtrack to their lives is on Spotify. My daughter and all her friends between 14 and 16, they have Spotify. And I go, don't you want to hold records or something? If I tell my daughter that, she goes, yeah, I'll just go to your record collection. But they don't care about it. They don't want to hold it in their hand. They don't want to smell the cardboard, feel the ink.
Right.
No, I just wrote out, I have an idea for a T-shirt. It's Hug Your Record Day. Hug your
That's
record
great,
day.
Mark, actually. That really is.
It's pretty good, yeah.
I like that.
I don't know if you've asked your daughter this, but I mean, are there songs that mean a lot to her because they happened at a particular moment of her life that was special?
Yes, absolutely.
So that still does happen for kids.
Absolutely, and she'll play it for me, and inside I'm like vomiting, and then outside, because I can imagine what my dad thought of me listening to, Rubber Soul or something, and. Right. So I have to go, oh, well, okay, yeah, that means something to you, but she just broke up with her boyfriend or whatever. I understand it. Becomes the soundtrack to her life. Yes, the children do take their music very seriously.
That's really good to know because I figured that was something that they were missing out on.
I did too. Yeah, but no.
I always wonder though if somehow by magic they made Spotify or any place where everything is free, essentially.
Right.
If they made it $100 a month to listen to anything like that, would people then go back to buying a CD for $14 to own it and always have it, or is just physical product just dead and gone for?
It's dead forever? And gone because the big corporations dictate that.
Yeah.
My car doesn't have a CD player. It just about has a what's that? The
USB.
USB.
Yeah.
So the no cassettes, and I remember pasting an 8-track player in my car.
Well, yeah.
Before your time, guys.
And here's the funny thing: if my phone is hooked up to my car, which it is,
yeah, mine too.
Spotify. If I pick my phone up to look for something on Spotify, and a cop sees me doing that, I get pulled over. Right? I can pick up a CD all day long in my car and pull it out and pop it in the CD player, and no one's going to pull me over at all. But
exactly.
You're not being arrested for the music.
That's right. I got stopped and I told the guy, he goes, "Were you on your phone?" I go, "No, officer, I had it on Apple Play, and the song was 'I Fought the Law and the Law Won.' So I'm not even going to argue with you." He gave me a warning.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to use that next time. No, but Mark, let's not say that the physical product is dead in the water. There's still plenty of records being made.
Yes.
Many of CDs being made.
Yeah.
As long as we're not dead in the water,
Thank you.
The product's not dead.
It's absolutely
one day maybe.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great music out there still being made and put onto CDs, also on vinyl. Yeah. But I think back to my original question was, what is a band sitting around somewhere and wherever producing 500 CDs? And I mean, there's really they're not in it to try to get that distributed around or found by anybody, really.
No, it's not going to happen.
The bands who play IPO every year, I mean, they're all doing music because they love it.
Love it, yeah.
A lot of them have day jobs, but even the ones who don't, I mean, the primary reason for them doing music is because they
love it. David, that was going to be one of my questions. Are there anything that you recommend that I might want to listen to? Some of these bands that are coming through your fingers there?
I will send you my best of lists for the
awesome
for the last few years, and then you'll see exactly what you should be buying.
Perfect. My daughter did buy a vinyl copy of Tame Impala.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
And another group called the Temples.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
Tame Impala and Temples are like brothers. Although in my opinion, Temples is a more talented brother.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, it's
even bands like that, they can't be making much money, can they?
Well, Temples are. I mean, Tame Impala is because he's paired with some, I think even like not Lamar, maybe The Weeknd or somebody, but somebody brought him to the forefront, and that's what blew him up a little more.
Oh yeah, it just it takes one person who's got a hell of a lot of followers and things to drop your name or say that I'm listening to this and I dig this, and that opens up a whole new road for you. But
it's all social media.
That's the
DIY of today.
No, it sure is. Different world though, different world, and that's why we love to talk about it. But
I miss it.
Yeah.
So Tom,
yes, sir.
I mean, you've seen the whole process that your album has gone through, and the first obscurity, then resurrected, and then so many different reissues. When you made that album, did you ever envision that it was going to become an iconic record in the power pop genre? Were you thinking about that?
Absolutely not. No, I pressed 1,000 copies, mostly for my friends, and to show people coming to my studio that this is what you could do with your band. Because I'll tell you, that cover, it really was a lot of work I put into it.
Look at that. Look at each individual square is hand drawn.
Let me tell you, I'm a pizza snob. So Friday nights after the studio, I'd go to the Italian restaurant, and this red and white tablecloth would be staring me in the face. And I think I said, that's my album cover.
It always reminded me of Bob's Big Boy. Remember, he had that jumpsuit on?
Yep. You have Bob's Big Boy back in New Jersey? I didn't know that.
They're more I think they're more southern Pennsylvania.
It was Pennsylvania, yes.
Oh, wow. Huge out in California. But,
yeah. That guy standing out front holding the burger. Oh, yeah.
No In-N-Out, right, Mark? No In-N-Out burger?
No In-N-Out. No In-N-Out.
Oh.
No. But I had my daughters in Southern California in May, and right out of the plane, the first place they had to get to was In-N-Out. So,
Get out.
Yeah, they had to get to In-N-Out.
Oh, it's got a huge reputation in where I live.
Yeah,
and the lines are long. It's kind of like, pardon me, it's kind of like Pink's hot dogs. I mean, the lines are just huge.
12 o'clock at night. It's 12 o'clock at night here. They're a mile away from me here. It's lines. Come on.
They knew it. They had to get to it, and
oh my goodness.
We made the stop, but
well, maybe we can get to put our money together and open one in Jersey, there, Mark.
There you go.
Well, John Bork just said I've been in and out of it for years, so
that's good.
You haven't been in and out for years. Hello. What was I gonna? But not only has that album become iconic, but it's been reissued in so many different variations. I mean, you got the CD version, you got that Not Lame did. You got the double vinyl version. That
Field Records did a beautiful job with the bonus Peter Noon single singing "Flame."
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that was I got a kick out of that when we did that song. It was up for a movie, and I was living in California. We were recording in Graham Nash's studio, and I got a call and says, Peter Noon, they're asking Peter Noon to sing your song Flame because they like your song, but they want to put a name to it. They don't know who the Toms are. It was done in Canada. The movie was called American Boy. And Peter came in and we became friends. I would go to his house in Santa Barbara, hang out with him. Wrote a couple of things, and I got to find him. Wrote a couple of things with Harry Nielsen at my house too, just before he passed.
Oh, wow.
That was interesting.
I remember I interviewed Peter Noon. It was an online interview. I never met him, but
you sound like a good guy, right?
Pardon?
A good guy, right?
Yeah, he seemed like a good guy. When Herman's Hermits came out with their album Blaze, it seemed like it was more substantial than anything else they had done. So I asked him, "Did you guys do Blaze in order to, get the critics to take you seriously?" And he said, "We never wanted to be taken seriously."
I know.
I don't believe that answer. That's insane.
I know.
He just wanted big hits. He didn't care where it
came from or how he got it. Yeah.
No.
Now, Billy Sullivan, David, for many years. He was Herman's guitarist for the last 25 years, whatever. And he just
what a talent! I'll never forget when he played IPO Youngstown the one year we did it there. And, wow, I couldn't believe how good
he speaks highly of Herman or Peter Noon across the board. So great guy.
Good guy. Yeah.
Good stuff. But so this the latest album we popped up here, Rock Paper Scissors. You did put a lot more work into the album cover in this one.
A little bit, yep. I think there's.
Was the neck tan going to be just one finger raised if you don't buy it?
Yeah, you should have done that just for the hell of it.
Have you seen the back cover, David?
That might be. Now, I'm going to do a vinyl, and they had 2 bonus tracks.
Oh, good.
One of them being, I wrote a song for Richie Sambora called "Ballad of Youth." It got to number 40 or somewhere on the charts. And this could be an interesting story for, I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about it, but anyway. The song got on the charts, 1991, and somebody thought that it might break up Bon Jovi. So somebody's mom called the record company and said, I don't want this song on the radio anymore. And that was the end of it. The next week it was off. And I called Richie. I go, what happened to the song? I can't hear it on the radio anymore, blah, blah, blah. And, I'm driving around Simi Valley, listening to Ballad of You. Nope. So make a long story short, I'm going to recut it, but in a Tom style. And I think I'm going to do a couple songs, as I said, as a bonus and not spend so much production time on it. Try to get back to the roots of like the first album.
Yeah.
Tell everyone about Horizontal Ladies Club.
Hello.
First of all, that obviously that name is just brilliantly hilarious.
But the songs, I love the songs, man.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
different. I mean, a little bit.
Got one on an IPO compilation. That was an honor for me.
Yeah,
that was awesome. What inspired that? I don't know. There was a style of music going on that I couldn't do as the Toms. So I said, you know what? Let me just go out as Horizontal Ladies Club. And I did that album. It actually got on Virgin Records. It was a Virgin release. I did pretty good in Japan. Again, I didn't have a band, so they didn't pour too much money into the promotion of it. But I still sell a lot of the CDs. I have them here. I will sell at least 2 CDs a week.
Wow.
That's crazy, right?
And most people find your CDs through Bandcamp, Tommy?
Bandcamp, and some people just email me.
Okay.
They find me like David and John did.
Okay, good. I've been running some banners across the bottom.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Just so people can see, my songgram.com will get to you, play it loud.
Bandcamp is now, that's something that new bands can do.
Yeah.
Bandcamp is pretty good. I mean, I find Peter Gabriel's new stuff on there.
Yep.
I like a couple of bands. One of them is a band called Flasher. I don't know if you've heard of them.
I don't know them.
Look them up, John and Mark. It's a girl and a guy, and I think they're power pop. Flasher. And
is that just like it sounds? FL, like the Flash,
Flasher. Flasher, Flasher, yes. And there was a couple of them, but I discover a lot of power pop bands off of Bandcamp.
Sure.
And I think that it's a good outlet for an independent band to begin their journey. I mean, they're selling. I'm making a living off of just what's selling on Bandcamp.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gotten bigger than what it ever was.
So people looking for anything Tommy related, just go to Bandcamp and look up Tommy Marolda, and you'll get there.
The Toms. It'll take you to my right. There's I think maybe 20 albums or 15 albums. I forgot how many I put out.
It's a great resource. I have to look up Flasher. I'm writing that down right now because David was telling me pre-show. David was telling me something about Fluffer, and I wasn't sure what he was talking about, a band or a movie he was watching. I don't know, but I like that. I like the title Fluffer. I like that's a good band.
And of course, Fluffer. Fistula.
And Fistula.
And with that, I'm going to have to take my leave because I have to go to the radio station. But Tommy, thank you so much for your time. And
my pleasure. It's always great talking to you. And you're the drummer, right?
Pardon?
Are you a drummer?
I'm not a musician at all.
John, no. I thought John. Oh, it's John.
John's a drummer. Yeah.
John ran into my songwriting partner in England about a year ago.
No, that was me. That was me, Tommy.
Oh, that was you. That's what I meant. You had a Tom shirt on, and you ran into Bruce Foster.
Yeah, Bruce Foster played with one of the bands at the Cavern. Where we do IPO every year. In fact, Tom, you may not know this, but I hate to mention it, although I love mentioning it, because I brought the IPO to the Cavern for 20 years.
Oh, man.
They ordered me with a brick on their Wall of Fame. which
Yeah.
I'm up there with the Beatles and the Stones and Oasis. Yeah, there you go.
Oh my God.
Right above Little Steven's brick, right there.
That's
And
fantastic.
it's the best honor I'll ever have in my life. Oh, there's me with my wife holding the brick.
Oh my God. Look at that. The Zombies, Jack Bruce. One of my
Yep.
favorites, Jack Bruce.
And David's right there. That's the entrance to the Cavern Pub, which is directly across the street. This is a whole wall, and he's right there at elbow height. You don't even have to get down onto the ground to look at his brick. It's right there.
Oh my God.
It's really amazing because you have to have played the Cavern. You have to either have played the Cavern or been one of their DJs to have a brick. And they made an exception for me because, as they said, you brought over 2,000 bands to us.
Woo!
So,
well, now we got to get you on the wall. What's the group that did the wall?
Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd.
Yeah, but I've already heard another brick in the wall so many times.
I'm sure you did.
But I better head out.
Okay,
great to see
David.
you.
David,
stay
thank you.
in touch.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one, David. Appreciate it. Enjoy. We'll see you this weekend. Be good.
You got it. Thanks very much.
Tommy, thanks so much for hanging out here with us.
My pleasure, Mark. Now I
it's-
know you. You can't get away from me.
No, and if you're ever back in New Jersey,
I
goof
am.
it off, make sure you drop me a note and say we're around. I
will do
get
that.
a great kick of hanging out and having a little food and talking live face to face because
Lorenzo's Pizzas, Robbinsville, New Jersey.
there you go. All right, that's a deal. David was telling me how really it's nice that he's known you all these years and what a great guy you are. And as I said, when I do a deep dive on so many things you've been involved with besides just my love of the Toms and the Horizontal Ladies Club. It's just quite an impressive resume, and the fact that you talk about it so openly and easily too. It's a joy. I can see there's a joy for you in everything that you've done and continue to do. And
Love it.
really wish you the best, my friend. And thank you for hanging out here on Material Issues.
Thanks, Mark. You're the man. You made it very easy and enjoyable at the same time, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, best wishes to you, my friend.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
the rest of the evening in Vegas.
Okay, over and out in South Jersey.
Thank you, Tommy. Be good. Have a great night. See you.
All right, buddy.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you are. That was episode number 168 of Material Issues. I'm Mark Hershberger over here in South Jersey, Pop Detective Records. If you haven't looked down there at the bottom, popdetective.com. The website is back up and active with all Pop Detective releases if you want to pick them up. You can find them anywhere, really. But tonight, Tommy Marolda. What a guy. David and I loved the Toms, obviously. The Horizontal Ladies Club, just great music. If you're a fan of Power Pop, you know the Toms. Hey, thank you, Tim. Thanks for hanging out. That was a great interview. You're absolutely right. But yeah, he's been involved with bands like the Bee Gees, the Killers. He's been involved with Rod Stewart, Dr. Dre, Cher. He's a Grammy Award nominee. I mean, gosh, the guy's done it all, and he makes great music. So we look forward to more music for him in the future. We talk about things coming up right now. David had to run because he's doing an interview based on IPO Vancouver coming up in the next 3 nights, Thursday, Friday, Saturday at Lana Lou's in Vancouver. That's IPO Vancouver. But next week, it's just going to be David and I as of right now. We always talk about all these irons we have in the fire, and we truly do. There's just a lot of little scheduling conflicts and things. The thing about a live show on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, we got to have guests whenever they can be here on Wednesdays. So many times a guest will say, I'd love to be on, but we have to work out the timing because we like to keep it as consistent as possible every Wednesday. We do have a lot of cool irons in the fire, and whenever we reel them in and solidify them, they're going to be great. So stay tuned for that. We really don't have a whole lot scheduled in the future, but you know how the show is. It changes in a heartbeat, and all of a sudden we'll have the next 8 weeks booked. So we're working on it. So hang out. I hope you go over to materialissues.com, which takes you right to YouTube. I hope you subscribe there. Subscribe here on Facebook. Tell your friends, pass it around. Say, listen, if you haven't heard Material Issues, what a great show. This was episode number 168. All the episodes are archived over on YouTube. We appreciate everybody. Oh yeah, Tim, gotta love the Dolmans. They got new stuff in the works. It's gonna be great. But yeah, there's a lot of things we got going on. We drop an email or a text or a message on Facebook to let everybody know what's coming up. Usually on drop it on Monday to talk about Wednesday. But even if it's nobody, David and I'll be playing some Stump the Bash and goofing off with new releases, and we love when all our friends kind of come and hang out with us as well. So we appreciate you doing it, and we'll see you next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. If you're overseas, stay up late, grab something to keep you company, a little beverage, and join us right here at Material Issues, materialissues.com. Have a great night, everybody. See you soon. Cheers.